Good morning. Welcome to our presentation this morning on accounts payable. We'll introduce ourselves as the presentation goes on. But what we're going to do in a minute, we're going to turn the camera off just so you can see who it is we've got here today. We're going to turn the camera off and we are going to put the presentation on, and then we'll turn the camera off at the end as well so you can see us again. But we're just going to go straight into the presentation. Welcome to the accounts payable presentation that we are doing here today. Let's get down to our first screen. So you've just seen us on the screen just now. But today, what we're hoping for you to take away from today is to gain a deeper understanding of the transformative potential of that digitisation brings to everyday processes and administrative tasks. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here today through AP. But first, what I want to do is introduce myself. My name is Graham Foxwell, as you can see there on the screen, and I am the product marketing lead here at Kyocera. I've got over 30 years of experience within the ICT industry and community, and for a number of years, I did specialise in document and content management solutions. So before diving into the specifics of AP digitisation, let me provide you with an overview of Kyocera and explain why we believe we can assist you on your journey of digital transformation and business automation. Kyocera Document Solutions, as you see on the screen there, we excel at many levels. We work in cloud, collaboration and communication, which you see, security, connectivity, managed services, and of course what we're talking about here today, which is content and document management solutions. And our unwavering commitment to the customer, guided by our customer first principle, drives us in everything we do, and it shapes our vision for smarter workplaces and the protection of our precious planet. And as a world-leading manufacturer of high-tech things like ceramics, electronic components, you might not know this, electronic components, solar cells, office equipment, Kyocera Corporation, our parent company, has consistently ranked among the top 100 global innovators for 4 consecutive years. So here at Kyocera Document Solutions in the UK, we leverage innovative ideas, award-winning hardware, and intelligent software to deliver value and overcome challenges and put your organisation's knowledge to work. So Kyocera is committed to a more sustainable future in an era where scanning, sharing, processing, storing and printing documents play a pivotal role in our business operations. Our meticulous design and product range aligns with this mission. Let's have a look at the agenda. Quick look at the agenda, what we're going to be talking about today. You've had your 2 minutes of me, so next on will be my colleague Simon there in the middle, and he will take you through a short presentation on accounts payable and processing and the mundane repetitive process, the title of this presentation we're doing here today. Which I'm sure it won't be mundane and repetitive. I'm sure it'll be really exciting. And please note that this is one of 4 webinars, okay? So this is the first bit of it. Simon will take you through a bit more of what they are a bit later on. But they'll be covering things like workflow, approval, integration, storage, cloud storage, hybrid working, a whole bunch of other things which he'll talk you through later on. After Simon's bit, we will be having Bob on the right there. He'll give you a short introduction to DocuWare, and he'll talk you through that. And then we'll finish with the Q&A, okay? You'll see on your screens there, you'll have a Q&A button at the top there. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the Q&A and we'll get those right at the end, okay? We'll come back on camera and you can see us again and we can do those Q&As right back at the end. The whole webinar will be about 30 to 45 minutes, give or take a few. And just to let you know that we are recording this. So thank you again today for joining us, and I will now pass you over to my colleague Simon.
Cheers, Graham. So good morning, guys. Thanks for joining us today. As you've seen on the previous screen, my name is Simon Godfrey. I head up content services here at Kyocera, and similar to Graham, with about 24 years of business process experience. Now, the content services team here help organisations who are reliant on manual paper processes, the storage of documents in a secure and compliant manner, and maybe just customers who just want to turn archive boxes of paper and filing cabinets into a digital document. Now, I'm going to run through a few slides before my colleague Bob provides you with a short demonstration of our software. And as we said, this is the first of a series of webinars that we're going to do around the accounts payable process. And in the first of these, we're going to look at how businesses typically receive and process invoices. And then we'll do a short demonstration on how we can help with that initial part of the process by capturing that invoice, and more importantly, the data that's held in those pages of the document. These are our most important business documents. There'll be further webinars over the coming months that will look at how we can then take that invoice through the matching and approval process, and subsequently inputting the data into a finance system before we file it away. After this, we'll look at the benefits of having that data sat in a secure archive that manages access, helps with remote working, and a full audit process that manages version control and document retentions. And in our final webinar, we'll look at how we can maximise the investment on this technology to deliver fast return on your investment, but more importantly, how you can use this technology in other areas of your business to expand on that ROI. We'll also touch on the impact of Gen Z and Alpha as they come into the workspace, which I think is quite important. And there'll be more information in the webinars at the end of this slide deck, so you can see what the dates are. So let's look at that first stage of the process, and that's how invoices come into our business and how we capture the key data that we need. As I said, what we're going to cover is in the following slides is what we typically see. There may be processes in here that you may or may not have adopted in your business. But in a lot of instances, we hear that this is the way we've always done it, and we didn't know there was an option, and that's fine. Hopefully by the end of this webinar, you'll see the art of the possible. So as I said before, in a lot of instances, accounts payable is still a very manual paper-driven or paper-laden process that takes time. It's open to human error, and none of us are perfect. After all, we occasionally make mistakes. We still print, and as you know, Kyocera are a manufacturer of copies and printers, so we still see a place for them in the office, but does everything really need to be printed? We still use our most valuable resource, our staff, to perform manual, repetitive tasks. And in a lot of cases, as I said before, we do this because that's the way we've done it all the time. This is how we've always done it. We didn't know that technology was there to assist us. We then file these pages away so that we can have that information to hand in case we have a query or there's an audit, or just because we're legally obliged to keep it, like an invoice for 7 years. All of these steps have business costs associated with them, whether that be capital or physical costs, i.e. the cost of the machines, the paper, the toner, cost of our employees, the time it takes for them to perform these duplicated and repetitive tasks, the cost that we don't always see. Because we store the pages in a filing cabinet or a box in our office, that takes up space, or in a warehouse. And in some cases, people even pay to store these boxes off-site. All of these costs have an impact on our bottom line, our reputation as a business, and of course, environmental impacts. So is it time for a change? Let's look at the art of the possible. So let's start with how invoices typically arrive within our business. In nearly all cases, business receive a digital document by an electronic process. Put that simply, we get a PDF of an invoice that arrives by email. It's already a digital document. We have something that we can now work with. So what should we do with it? Well, that's right, we'll print it. I mean, after all, we are a print company, so we would encourage you to print. But let's take that digital document and turn it into a piece of paper, and we can process that through our business. But what cost? As I mentioned before, we have the printer, the toner, the paper, the electricity, and the time it takes for our staff to go and collect that piece of paper from the printer. All of these have a cost and business and to our business and the environment. And now we have that piece of paper. What do we do next? Well, usually we pile it on our desk until we have a few invoices to process. The great thing about that is it's pretty much impossible to lose a piece of paper if we stick it on our desk. It's impossible to misplace it. It's exactly where I left it, isn't it? It's super secure. After all, we're not inherently nosy as people, are we? We don't want to look at the stuff written down on a page that's on the top of a pile on someone's desk when we're having a chat. And when we come to the start of the manual keying in of that data in the page, as I mentioned before, we're practically superhuman. We can look at the data on a 3-page invoice with loads of different line items. We can extract that information and key it into our ERP software without making a single mistake in the blink of an eye. I'm being a little bit sarcastic there. You might have picked up on that. At the end of the day, this is what we've always done. So if no one's shown us a different way, how do we know? My colleague Bob now is going to run through a quick demo of our solution. In this, the first of our webinar series, Bob is going to demonstrate how we can monitor that inbox, that email. Let's not forget 90% of invoices arrive in a digital format, and then how we can bring it into our software without the need to press print. So there's some savings. And using the latest AI and machine learning technologies, we'll show you how we can then capture all the relevant data fields off that invoice without the need to manually input any data. Even more savings. Sounds good? Yeah? Okay, over to you, Bob.
Okay, thank you, Simon. So a little bit about me. Some of the guys on the webinar already know me. My name's Bob Mitten. Many years experience in variable data print, business process management, and ECM technologies. I'm bringing a certain amount to the table. I'm not saying how many years now, though, not in an actual number. So Simon mentioned lots of our clients. They're still receiving invoices via email or other electronic methods. I was talking to a lady last week. 80% of her invoices were coming in via email, and she was printing them and she was scanning them and then throwing them away afterwards. So very, very manual process. Let's have a look at something that's a little bit more simple, a bit more straightforward. So an invoice that's attached to an email. All we need to do, click on the store button. That will bring up a dialog that allows me to store it away in a secure manner into DocuWare. The index structure can be tailored completely to whatever your requirement is, but I'm going to simply click on email. All of this process can be automated. We're picking up information, for example, the contact email, subject. We could also pick up things like project, store date, for example. Simply click on store. In addition to that, what we can do is we can free up your inbox by removing the attachments from the email when they're stored away so that your inbox will eventually get empty.
It's worth also noting here that the process that Bob's going through is the manual process to show you. If you're an organisation that's getting a few hundred emails a day coming in with invoices attached to them, we can automate that process. So we're just basically monitoring invoices at kyocera.co.uk. And as soon as an invoice arrives in that inbox, we're stripping it out of there. So we're going through the manual steps to show you how it happens, but it could very much be completely automated.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to have the choice because we're talking about 80% of the invoices coming in via email. We've also got the other 20%. That could be handled in a number of ways. It could come from an ERP system. It could come from the mailroom. There's a number of different places that will get those documents in. So they could be scanned in. Also electronic format. We can pop them into this virtual in tray. So we've got 3 documents here. You'll see that there's a ribbon down the side of each one of these documents. There's a green one, so that means the intelligent indexing has recognized that document. It's seen it before. It's learned where all the information is. This one's got some amber bars on it. This one's all in red, so it hasn't seen this one before, so it needs to be taught. If I click on this document here, you can see that we have an invoice, and if I click on store, we can see that it's picked up all of this information automatically. If we need to check any of this, or in fact change any of it, we can simply highlight the area on the document that will modify it, and it will remember that information next time. So where to find it, what the format of the index is, and where it is physically on the page. Simply click on store, and all of the information that we've captured, including the line items, will be stored away into the database alongside the document.
Now you see there that Bob's literally done that in seconds. This is the bit where I was talking about before. If you've got a 3-page invoice that comes into your business, how long would it take you to manually key those data strings into your ERP system? Admittedly, as we say, you've always done this before, so you've probably got staff that are really proficient in this, but it still takes time. The AI within this application DocuWare, it knows what's on the page. It doesn't make mistakes. So that keying in piece is so much quicker, saving you guys time.
Okay, so payback at the end of that, we can just do a simple search, and I stored an email away earlier on, so I can simply select document type email. I could also put a particular date range, but I'll just say email, click on search. That gives them my document, body text of the email, and if we step through, we can also see the attachment. So quick and simple, and that's the full process of storing and searching for a document end to end. Thank you.
Perfect. So now, as we said before, this webinar is just the first of these accounts payable series. And on the next one, we'll show you how we can extract that data that we've taken from the invoice that we captured, and we can push that through to approval, matching and validation, which is, as I said, the next one. And by the end of this series, we will have shown you how we can capture, process, archive, retain, and dramatically improve the efficiencies of the whole accounts payable process, as we've shown on this slide. I mean, we literally have only done that first bit of the data entry, 95%, and the next one will show you how we can go through that approval process to speed that up. So we've shown you a snippet of the art of the possible, and we've shown you how we can potentially speed up that initial process, capturing and inputting of invoice data into your finance system. By doing this, we can increase productivity in your department. Because your invoice data is now being extracted by the latest AI and machine learning, less mistakes are being made. We're improving data accuracy. Remember, we're only human, so we can and do make mistakes. If we go back to what we were saying about productivity, by utilizing applications like this, you could potentially grow your organization without having to increase headcount and resources that you already have. And let's not forget, sorry, I need to put my teeth in this morning, the environmental impacts. We all need to do our bit. So if we can use less paper, less electricity, less toner, and create less waste, that's got to be a good thing, hasn't it? So speed, productivity, accuracy, resources, environment. We look at the first letter of all of these words, it brings up the word spare. What could your business do with all that spare time? How much extra profit could your business achieve if your staff were doing more with the spare time? Now, we're going to wrap up here, but what I want to do is thank you all for being on this first session. Hopefully, we'll see you on the next session, which is on Wednesday, the 27th of March, where we will look at how we can move that captured invoice data into the next stage, which is approval, validation, and then integration with your existing finance system or ERP, and then how we store that information. See you then. We're going to go over to some questions. So we shall stop presenting and we'll put the camera back on. Sorry about putting the camera back on, guys, but you're going to have to look at us again.
Okay, have you got any questions for us? Mic on the laptop. We've got a mic over there, by the way, as well. So
mic on the mic.
He's not on camera.
Yes, there have been a couple of questions here. One is, I can see you can integrate with Microsoft Outlook and the Office 365 suite of products. Can you also connect to Google Mail?
Yes, so we've got a number of ways of connecting to different applications within your business. The Office 365 application is completely supported by DocuWare, but also telling me to smile. I just have this resting face. Also, we can connect with the Google suite, so Gmail and everything.
Marvelous. Probably one for Bob, slightly more technical here, are those index fields that you showed customizable?
Yes, absolutely. Completely customizable depending on the customer requirement, sometimes even by role and user.
You mentioned it can connect to ERP solutions. I've got Sage 200. Will it work with that?
Yeah, So we've worked with Sage 200 loads and loads of times. There are multiple ways of connecting to your business application. So if that's an HR system, a CRM, Salesforce, if that's a ERP, connecting to SharePoint, we've got different ways of doing that through either APIs, CSV export imports. There's lots of ways that we can do that. So yeah, we can work there.
Great, thank you. The last one I have here is, can you only work with PDFs?
Do you want me to take that, Bob, while you're dining in the corner?
Yes, please.
We can work with multiple documents. So as I say, we integrate with the 365 suite, so we can work with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDFs, and we can edit and manage the audit trail of those documents as well. So we can see the version, the latest version, what version 2 looks like, what version 1 looks like. Yeah, we can do that.
Marvelous. And that's all the questions I have on this.
Okay.
session.
Well, look, guys, I think we've saved a bit of time. We've managed to rattle through this in 25 minutes, which we're really grateful for you joining us. So hopefully we will see you again on Wednesday the 27th. Oh, Mike, go on.
Sorry, I've just got one more question that you posted here. Hi, we already have a DMS system. Can your products talk to other DMS systems having a board rather than having a separate one?
Yes, as I say, we can communicate. I mean, most organisations are leveraging their investment in the 365 suite and they're using things like SharePoint. So yeah, we can work with other applications. It might be that in some cases that the DMS that you've got doesn't have the capabilities that this particular application does in terms of workflow, storage, and capture. Tend to look at these fields in 3 different spectrums, whereas DocuWare has everything in the toolkit. So yeah, but we'd be interested to talk to you if you've got an existing system and you want to fire that out.
Yeah, and then just to say that as we've got here on the screen, you know, even after this presentation here today, and we've got 3 more after it, if you want to talk to us, please get in touch and we can come in and have a chat to you about what your requirements are. But if that's all the questions, we're all good. Thank you for joining us here today, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one, or just get in touch with us. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much indeed. See you again.